I know you I know you hate it when I bring the reading and language arts stories to you, Dr. Fye. So
No,
try to bear with this one because I know it's really out of your subject area.
I'll try. Everybody
Well,
needs to go out of their comfort zone sometimes.
and I know it's another subject that you don't really enjoy that much, college admissions and essays. I know just none of this stuff speaks to you. In all seriousness, though, I think you're going to like this story. We're moving into March, Sarah, which means that most college-bound high school seniors have recently completed one of the more enriching and often challenging assignments in the college admissions process, the admissions essay.
Yeah.
What makes admissions essays a unique experience for students is that it's personal in nature, which is a writing format that many students don't get a lot of practice in until college application season rolls around. But in a recent article in Edutopia, English teacher Jason Abril wants to change that and give students more opportunities for personal essay writing throughout their K-12 careers. Mr. Abril preaches the value of personal essay writing for students. Quote, I have had students tell me that their child used to love creative writing, but somewhere along the way, the rigor of school seemed to have killed it. Personal essays, then, restore that creativity, since they encourage a freedom from form. Students can experiment with style and figurative language and syntax in ways that the traditional academic 5-paragraph essay often thwarts. Unquote. Mr. Abril also notes that personal essay writing assignments also present a valuable opportunity for teachers to get to know their students better, giving them insight into their students' concerns, dreams, and emotions, while also affording an opportunity to assess their compositional skills at the same time. But assigning personal essays does more than just improve a student's writing skills. As Mr. Abril notes, personal essays instill within his students, quote, a love of reflection, looking back on their experience, reminiscing on significant memories that linger, carefully considering the seemingly little moments that, only upon reflection, have an enormous impact on us, unquote. There was a piece from the article, Sarah, that I thought was really, really neat, where Mr. Abril talked about how he wrote so many essays in high school, countless essays, more than he can possibly remember. Except for one essay, the only essay that he remembers from his high school experience was that personal college admissions essay because of the amount of reflection it entailed. And it left a significant experience on his life, and he wants to create that experience for other students. And so I thought that was really interesting and exciting, and obviously would relish the opportunity for students to get as much of those kind of personal writing opportunities as possible in the classroom.
It's interesting you say that. So I feel as though recently there has been so much conversation, at least here in Florida, because we have very different standards. This past couple years, we went into new standards. We went into a new test platform, a new test system. Because of that, there's been a lot of conversation amongst us educators about when and where do we put writing. And a lot of times we're talking about writing in a very academic sense, right? And I've been pushing for a lot of my schools to kind of use writing in a way, maybe in a way that we used to in some situations, but in a way that we've definitely gotten out of the habit of doing, which is using writing constantly. I forget the exact phrase for it, but basically using academic writing all the time, like use opportunities to do writing when maybe you wouldn't have before. And that can include reader response, right? When we're reading something, just give me your initial reaction to what we've read. And that can be a writing activity. In any of your content area classes, be it social studies, science, math, have a written response to it, giving ideas on how to do it, using templates for writing like that. But I don't know how many of them really do give an opportunity for personal writing. I think maybe the closest to that would be free writes or, reader response, and giving students a chance to talk about themselves or about something that they care about is tricky. And I'm challenging myself to think of a time where I've been encouraged recently. I know I can look further back, but recently when I've really been encouraging teachers to give students an opportunity to do something like what you're saying. I think most creative writing classes are in our middle schools. So when a student gets to high school, they may be pressured with those high school content, high school courses, whether it's AP or, dual enrollment, a lot of our students do. Where are they getting opportunities to do this personal writing? And I'm as you were mentioning that, I was thinking to myself, I don't know that we're giving those opportunities as much as maybe we could be.
Yeah, that fits in exactly with what Mr. Brill was saying, that, his experiences with a lot of his students, that the older they get, particularly
Right.
as they go from middle to high school, those opportunities for personal reflective writing start to diminish. And, one of the, biggest issues with that is that it's really missing out on something that's very engaging for students, because Mr. Brill notes in the article that not only is personal writing probably subjectively the most fun type of writing to write. We all like to write about ourselves and reflect about our experiences, but it's also the most fun writing to read. Mr. Brill talks about how his students are most engaged when they have them read essays that aren't just written by the greatest writers, by the Hemingways and the Faulkners, but when those writers specifically write about themselves. That kind of personal reflective writing is interesting to read from others as well. And so depriving students of those experiences, maybe because we are too attached to teaching that 5-paragraph essay, or we really want to prepare students for the academic writing they're going to confront in college, really, causes us to miss out on what could be a really valuable experience for these kids. And I wonder how that gets addressed. Is that just something that we have to do on the micro level, where we just encourage teachers to create more of these assignments? Or do we need a more macro level approach, where we start to say we need standards that specifically provide that we need to start doing this kind of writing more in the classroom, so that it's done across the board?
Well, when we talk about vertical alignment, when we talk about vertical planning across grade levels, a lot of what those conversations look like is looking at what academic needs there are present in college and working backwards, right? So if we were to do that and to talk about, well, just to get into college, they need to have experience with this kind of writing, with this kind of not just essay writing, but the ability to reflect and all of that. I think working backwards and saying, well, those skills are things that we probably encourage where, right? And ask ourselves, well, at what grade levels and at what points do we get to touch on those things? And I think what the danger is, and this happens often with a lot of, especially when it comes to expression and creativity, we hear so much about elementary schools, and to a very small extent middle schools, provide opportunities for that kind of write about whatever you like, right? Come in on Monday and just write about your weekend. Those are prompts that I see often in lower grades, but as we get more and more structured, we get further and further away from some of those soft skills that are really critical to success in career in college.
Gosh, that's a really good point, right? Because encouraging reflective writing isn't just about, hey, this is fun, so kids should do it. There are really important skills that students need out in the world: being able to express yourself, being able to articulate how you're thinking and feeling effectively. These kind of soft communication skills are critical in the workplace. And so
Absolutely.
certainly our writing assignments need to further encourage these points and make sure students are skilled at it.
Yeah, I'm not sure I have an answer for where exactly it needs to happen, but I can tell you I've seen some great examples of that happening. Just recently, I was in middle school last week in a middle school class where the teacher has them keeping gratitude journals. And so every day they write, sometimes they react to like a quote that the teacher has pulled and wants them to reflect on. Other days they can just talk about something that they've done. And then, Ryan, I know I've shared with you before about the One Good Thing website,
Oh,
where
yeah.
I've seen teachers who have their students do a one good thing journal, with the idea that every day may not be good, but there is one good thing you can find in every day. So having those kinds of moments and journals and activities where students can kind of see over time their own reflective process is really powerful.
That is powerful. Let's not lose sight of the time-honored tradition of the journal, right? That's certainly
Yeah.
something that we all did in the elementary grades, right? Every elementary student is doing journals, but it's sort of, we don't embrace it as much in the secondary grades, and
And I
perhaps we
don't know
should.
how much it's happening at elementary levels still, if I'm being completely
Is that right?
honest.
Oh, what a
Well,
shame.
like I said, because we've been, I think, reevaluating when and how writing is taking place, I think that might be something that people are not making as much of they're not placing as much emphasis on it. Like you said, like maybe we're not finding place for it in a standard, so then we decide it's not worth our time, and that might be a big mistake.